yeah, I'll end my TED talk with just a reminder that it can be very uncomfortable, but sometimes we have to get uncomfortable to find our fulfillment that we desire.
Hello, guys. So, welcome back to the Daily Humans podcast. I'm Nina.
I'm Ashley.
And welcome back. Today is very exciting. It's just, I feel very motivated and inspired, and I'm so excited about what we're going to talk about. But first, as always, how are you doing, my lovely Ashley?
Oh, I'm absolutely excited. Last
Yeah.
week's episode was really good, so I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes.
How are you feeling, my friend?
I'm doing, oh my gosh. It's interesting. I don't know. I feel like I mentioned this in a previous episode, but I have gone to my first somatic healing session. And ever since then, I've been feeling like a brand new person. And so I feel so invigorated and powerful. And I cry a lot, but that's part of the problem. I mean, program.
That's fun.
Yeah. Program means it's working. So I'm doing actually really good. And it has me really excited because I've talked about this a little bit here and there. I don't think we've ever really gone into depth with it, but this year has brought about a lot of change. And I have changed as a person. It has been such a monumental thing. And next month is July. We're recording this in June, and it'll be my birthday. My 28th year of life will finally. Ashley's laughing. She's like, I've been waiting.
I've been waiting for this moment. I cannot wait. Our episode. It's Nina's episode. It's Nina's
Yes.
turn.
Yes.
What shall I have planned? You'll never know until the day.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you have me nervous now. No, but
sorry, but it's a surprise.
it's okay. I'll prepare myself. With the 28th year coming up, I just feel a lot different than I ever have been before because of all the progress that I've been putting into evolving myself, healing myself, and all of that. And so today, Ashley and I both wanted to sit down and talk about the beauty that is metamorphosizing, if that is a word, turning from the cocoon into the butterfly. And without crushing it this time, we will definitely. Yeah, butterfly. So yeah, today's episode is about us and probably all of you no longer being the same as before. And I'm very excited to get started with this today. Very pumped.
Yeah, I want to empathize as well that we obviously discuss what we're going to be talking about. And also, the art of this conversation is to break down the narrative that you don't make mistakes and to assist in the accountability and responsibility for self pathways.
Yes.
We talk a lot about accountability and responsibility, and essentially that has to start with self as well. So we're just kind of going to be unfolding a lot of the things that we have assessed within self too that have created these transitions and these changes, just to tell you all that it's okay and that it's incredibly important when we have relationships and connections in our lives to have that accountability in self. It helps build them as well, and to also advocate for that too. So here's to accountability and responsibility, even when it's difficult, even when it's uncomfortable, even when we don't want to see it. It's for the betterment of humanity and relationships and love. And like I said, the last episode, accountability is hot. responsibility is hot, consent is hot, that is in, that is attractive. So,
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I love that you said that as well, that accountability and just being an upstanding citizen, is
Mm.
hot because it is. It is. It's hot to be
Mm-hmm.
a good person. And I feel like sometimes we have the
Oh,
narrative of like the bad boy, the bad girl, ooh, so mysterious.
mm,
But actually, in real life and everyday life, the hottest thing you could possibly do is to stand on your own 2 feet in a sense and say, this is me. This is what I stand for. This is what I will not stand for, and I will fight for what is right. Whew, spicy.
yeah. Absolutely. When I see it, when I see the kindness, I need a fan. I need to fan myself down because I'm
Yeah.
watching, thinking to myself, oh my gosh, you're a beautiful human being, and I can tell. Ooh,
Yes.
ooh,
Yes.
the kindness, like stacking, no, cleaning up themselves after a rest, like after they eat at a restaurant, cleaning up after yourselves. Hell yes, love it, live for it, love seeing it. Being kind to your waiter or waitress,
Oh yeah.
yes, all for it, 100%. Very in touch with emotions, valid and comfortable to be a sensitive soul because there's nothing wrong with that. Whew, I need a fan. That is, oh yes, that is beautiful stuff.
She just
That's the kind of
described
human beings.
she just
Yeah.
described her like perfect ideal man. So all your men watching, listening is like, well, I am that. Well, I must be hot. Yes, you are. Go meet Ashley. Be a
Yes.
beautiful hot couple, please.
You totally just validated it too, like the hotness of that kindness and that
Yes.
be able to like stand in sturdiness of their kindness. That's the other thing
Yes.
too, like confidence in your kindness and confidence in your, but again, this is not about perfection, but still, you deserve to own that. Your
Yeah.
kindness deserves to be owned and don't ever apologize for it. It's beautiful stuff.
Yes.
Human to
And it's
human.
so rare.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Love it. Yeah. Absolutely. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Opening the door for people. Oh, the things like I could name a whole list of things that I've seen in person, and I'm just like, they have, oh, their expansion of awareness is hot. It is sweltering. It is beautiful.
Yes.
You'll see things like opening the door for someone, or when you see someone like putting a clothing of item back off the floor. I've seen that before. Just there's just the assertiveness of care and
Yeah.
oh, mhm. Or one other thing too is
Yeah.
they look behind them when someone's like behind them, right? They're checking like someone they know. They're not just walking in front and walking away.
Right.
They're looking behind them and they're
Yeah.
waiting for them, thinking about it, they're assertive of the people around them. They're
Oh my
aware.
gosh.
They're
Yeah.
aware. Yes,
Awareness is hot.
love it. Awareness is yep. Mhm.
I was just thinking about it
Beautiful.
too, like people who open car doors for you. Oh my God. That is a art that has been severely lost to time. Just somebody like, no, you sit. I open the
Yep.
door, Madame, please go.
Yep.
Like, oh my goodness,
Yep.
love that. It's a beautiful thing to see. What is it called?
When your hands are
Chivalry?
full.
Yeah,
Mhm.
beautiful.
When your hands are full. Mhm.
Yeah,
When you can see someone is struggling maybe to get something off the top shelf, and if you're able to do so, they do so, and that's assertiveness, right? You don't just walk past. You have the assertiveness. I love that word. I just keep using it to help them, to
yeah,
help them out.
yeah,
Someone's struggling, you help them out.
yeah. It's
I
beautiful.
would
My
hate,
goodness.
I could never be someone that watches my partner carry all this stuff in their hands and then just walk away or just
Yeah,
keep walking.
yeah,
No, I'm grabbing some stuff. I'm offering to grab some stuff. No way. No way, Jose. Hmm.
Yes. It's just I don't know. It's weird because people sometimes place this stuff on it's bare minimum, but it's not when it's not common. So it's nice to see when people do care
Hmm.
still.
Yeah, because in certain cultures, isn't like holding the door not really a common denominator?
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even I
So
would
they don't know
say
then.
it doesn't even matter too much which culture because even in like culture in countries where this is a culture it doesn't happen a lot anymore
Mm,
so it's still nice to see when people do take that extra little step, but
hmm.
yes, we are not the same as we were before. Ashley and I talk a lot about life and the past and the future and the present and everything in between and within and without.
The whole
But
shebang.
yeah, the whole shebang bang. And I,
The
I
whole
don't know what's wrong.
shebang bang.
Yeah,
That's funny. The whole
uh,
shebang bang.
yeah, like BB, but shebang bang. Anyway, um, if you don't get that reference, I learned that people in Australia say BB. I guess it's a brand for a beer. And I thought it was BB, like BEBE, as in like beer, anyway, shebang bang. Shebang bang works. Anyway, today is going to be me being a little bit chaotic. I apologize. I'm just very excited. But with time, I don't know if you want to get started, Ashley, or if but I just feel like a lot of the time, and you can let me know if you agree, people tend to hold on to their past in not such a nice way in terms of not in like healing, but more so in self assurance that they are still the ish, they're still the shebang bang in that sense of high
Oh, the
school.
shebang bang.
High
Yeah.
school. People hold on to high school, people hold on to the past, people hold on to past memories of themselves or people, etc. And it's interesting because yesterday I watched one of my favorite TV shows called New Amsterdam, would recommend it to everybody. And there is a therapist on the show, and his name is Iggy. And he said this amazing thing about memories, which I would love to just insert here real quick, where it's like memories aren't accurate as much as we believe them to be. And yet we place identities out of them. We place identities of ourselves from our memories and the experiences that we've had in the past from ourselves and from other people. However, it's not so much what the memory, if it is real or not, as much as it is about the present. We need to take our worth and our importance for life and what we view and what we want for ourselves, and we need to take that in the present moment rather than the versions of ourselves from the past and the memories that our storylines or the ego storyline tries to portray within those memories that we still, recollect. But with high school, I say this all the time, and I feel like a lot of people will agree to this because I do feel this is a universal issue. Too much of our society is run off of the same structure of high school, where it's like there's a popular girl, there's a popular boy, and then there's people in between, and then there's the outcast, and we have that in work culture, we have that in friendship culture, even family dynamics, and it's not healthy. And Ashley and I have discussed this very shortly, where it is healthy. Actually, no, I'm going to just let you take the mic, Ash. I want you to. This is your story. Please tell the world.
Thank you for passing the mic over, Nina. Oh, thank you so much. Seriously.
Of
Okay, here we
course.
go. Do I get an Oscars timeline for how long?
Yeah, the
Okay.
music will be playing in shortly.
What music? What music? Because I'll just start jamming. I won't get off the stage because I'll just start jamming to it. What is it?
Tell me something good, ding ding. Tell me that you like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. I love you like dear.
Dear.
That's beautiful. You have such a beautiful voice. I'm sure
That
those that
wasn't
listen
even
to you.
good. No. Stop.
So we'll do an episode where you sing because I think a lot of people will
Oh my
love that.
gosh. I'll do like a promo. Not a whole episode, but like a promo.
We get a promo. We get a
Yeah.
promo. Hallelujah. Yes. I can't wait for that. Your birthday. You can sing
Oh
happy
my
birthday instead because you got a nice voice. So that,
happy
you know,
birthday to me.
happy birthday to me. So this is that I'm just like waving the pom poms, like, yeah, happy birthday to you. I'm like the backup dancer. Happy
Yeah.
birthday to you. It's like Marilyn Monroe singing to the president, but instead you're singing
Ooh.
to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you sing like that?
Happy birthday, miss me. Happy birthday. Because I'm not a president. I don't know what to say. Happy birthday to
Miss
me.
me.
Oh,
Oh, thank gosh for Nina. Thank gosh for Nina, truly. Thank the universe. I didn't say, I said thank gosh. Yeah, thank the universe for Nina, truly. She represents the new, and the new is scary but glorious. She's not
mm.
scary, it's just the new scary, you know what I mean? But
But
it's
I can be scary
glorious to
too,
have
so.
new. Oh, show, do the monster voice.
I can be scary too. Don't mess with me. That just sounds like I lost my voice, but okay. We're just gonna roll with it. Oh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the newness of this journey. I actually what Nina was kind of talking about is I sent her a voice recording because I had a moment of reflection yet literally 2 days ago where I kind of thought about current situations and transitions that have happened and moving from old spaces, which is a part of the change. And I made a decision, oh gosh, 2021 maybe? 2021, I think it was. I actually wrote a letter to the universe and I put it under crystals. And I basically said to the universe, I want to let go of everything old, everything that's not for me. And I just want new. I want fulfillment. You know, I put it out there, and this is the thing when you put things out there, you don't exactly know how it's going to happen for you, but I'm telling you, it delivered.
Oh, yeah.
It was full on too. Like, it's like I can imagine the universe being like, "Go, here we go now, buckle up." I didn't even get to put a seatbelt on at this point. Imagine that car just went zoom.
Yeah.
No, 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 Batman just went. The Batmobile. And I honestly I couldn't even hold on to the Jesus handle at this point. I was just kind of flying off the radar. But at the same time, it's been the greatest in the crumbling, I guess, of the old and the welcoming in of the new and actually figuring out what the new is in general. It's had to come with a lot of self assessment as well as responsibility and accountability, which we'll discuss soon. But one in particular thing that I was really thinking about is the element of shifting self in the entirety of figuring out who you are and personality, how you want to show up, who you are to the core, not just on the outside, but inside as well, right? And this year I kind of came to the realization that and I've said this before in an episode, I don't fully know who I am. And I was really questioning a lot of the elements of that. Like, am I actually kind? Do I actually like being this kind, like really just deep diving into that, which is such a normality when you have certain mental health conditions and you've been through certain things in your life where self identity wasn't a part of the equation. So I was really questioning everything this year. And obviously, it led me to the realization that I want to be this and I am this, and I'm still on that journey. And then it got me, like I said 2 days ago, into this thought process where I came across certain people that brought on memories from the past of things they had done to me, the negative correlation. And I started to get into my feelings about it and I started to feel the disdain towards them. And I thought to myself, I am not the same person that I was even a month ago. You know, a lot has happened in a month. A lot can happen in a month, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. I thought I'm not the same person. And I thought about the amount of people that don't know this version of me now and that probably still have the version that they knew me in their minds. And I thought, this is what I do as well. And it's difficult because it's trying to find balance amongst realizing that the behaviors weren't validated, but also people can change. I believe that, okay, that not everyone, right? But it's more, there's a deeper meaning to the reasons why they don't shift. Some aren't meant to in this life, in their lifetime. You know, others, it's just like seeing self, seeing you is incredibly difficult for some people to see them and their actions and their behaviors, to even look in the mirror in the first place, right?
Yeah.
But I thought to myself, what if the way that I am thinking about myself in this situation, what if this is them? What if they've changed? What if they have shifted? What if they are not the people that I knew them back then to be? What if they no longer attribute themselves to those behavioral patterns? I don't know, obviously, because they're not a part of my life. But this is what I was thinking about, is that if someone came in and tried to contain me to the version of myself before, I wouldn't allow that because that version of me doesn't exist anymore. And honestly, she represents a really unhealed part that I've been healing for a long time. So really, it's like I know who she was and I know why she did what she did. And going through the whole explanation of that with people, it's difficult because you got to validate what they went through as well. But also, you're not the same person. There's just so many difficulties in this because I'm still like navigating through this thought process that came up. But people do change and they obviously choose that. Like I chose to navigate through the transition. Um, yeah, it was one of those moments where I really sat there and thought deeply about it. The version of me now, a lot of people don't know me now. You know, people from high school, they wouldn't know me now.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But essentially, the version that they knew and probably remember doesn't exist anymore. Truly, I have no recollection of my old self in that way. Personality, even look wise as well. A lot of things have changed. And there are still elements of the past that are a part of this equation, like 100%. But in terms of her as a existing human being, it's not a reality anymore. And yeah, I think that's something to take on for anyone else as well, is to really think about the version of you that you've transitioned to now and the potential, again, not invalidating the situations that occurred, but the potential people that you've known that may have shifted and went gone through their changes. We essentially want people to find movement in self and growth We essentially want that. We want the self to evolve, right? Staying in high school era, high school personality or high school persona, depending on how that evolved, it's sort of keeping yourself in a stagnant position when evolvement and growth is such a key element in our human existence, especially as individuals. Like we need that. We need that growth. And why not? You know, it's not perfect. It's not about that. But it is about the fact that as we age, our mind, like things have changed. Like food likes have changed,
Yeah.
you know? The things I used to like when I was 21, I never thought I'd ever like. Like, I never thought I'd ever dislike, sorry, and now can't even stomach the taste of it anymore. There's been so many shifts since turning 25 and starting the aging process now at 28. So many things I never thought would actually happen, which is just proof that with the change that we have that we can't control also means the changes in self and the growth in self that in a lot of ways has to happen. And a lot of people go through that without even we us knowing, really. They just showcase it in ways, whether it's paying it forward or kindness or advocation or, you know, care, like working in any kind of field that cares for human beings. There's like many different layers to this. Um, but I definitely feel like it's something to consider. But again, and I want to preference it, it's not invalidating the things that they did. It's not about that because I can just hear people saying like, well, they were a bully and they were this and they were that. And I truly get it. But we want people to change. We want people to have growth. We want the growth, right? Without validating the behavior. And you have every right to feel how you feel, just as I do. But we want people to find that growth and have that self assessment and responsibility and accountability. We want that, you know, we really want that. You don't have to forgive them. You don't have to pretend it didn't happen and you don't have to be okay with it. But it's the acknowledgement of forward moving in that way. There's more to that subject in general, but just to reference that.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful because, like you said, different places that you wish to go to in your life when you look into the future and you from the past to where you are today. You couldn't have gotten where you are today remaining the person that you used to be in the past.
Mm.
And growth is something that is vital for every single one of us. And like Ashley said, there are people who are more resistant to it. And then there are people who are not, who embrace change and growth. And change can be such a scary thing to go through for many different people, myself included. There was an aspect to myself in the past where I hated change because to me it was something that I connected to instability and
Mm.
no place of comfort, no place of real rest. But once I got a little bit older, I realized that change is actually one of the best things that can happen to us because it means you don't have to be in this space forever. You know, if you are finding yourself in a position where you don't like being, um, it's not going to last forever. And that can be a good thing and a bad thing, of course, because there are good things you want forever to last, but can't because of change. But no, it is so vital for us to keep evolving and growing and expanding and learning more about ourselves. I feel like humanity and people in general are like flowers. You know, you peel back each layer and you see something else hidden underneath, and there's more and more and more. And I think it's such a beautiful thing when you allow yourself to be open to that and to be able to have or be in a space where you can look back on yourself and be like, I don't even recognize her anymore. That's not me anymore. Or I don't even eat the same foods anymore. It's something that I personally am going through right now in my life. There have been a lot of changes within the last few years, but especially at the beginning of this year, there were a lot of things that fell away. And a couple of days ago, um, I remember just ruminating on some past friendships that weren't the best, but still there are moments of missing people and missing certain dynamics between friendships. And there was a part of me that in that moment, I was like, I wish, maybe there could be some kind of rekindling. Maybe there can be something that can be done. And then when I actually really sat down and thought about it, I was like, no, the change was the best thing that could have possibly happened because that person or that thing or that place was there for the time that it needed to be. And it can be, especially when it's related to people, I will put this as a side tangent, change related to people, whether friendships, relationships, whatever, what type of relationship it is, it can be a really scary thing and it can be a really impactful thing. But that change can be the turning point for you and who you are. So if a person was bad to you in the past, there is change. It's really it's hard for me to put into words, to be completely honest, because it's something that I kind of at this point in my life allude to kind of like magic, if that makes sense. Because a couple months ago, looking at the person that I am right now, I would have never imagined it. I put so much work right now into taking better care of myself, listening to myself, healing wounds and traumas. And in the growth of that, in the in between zone, I'm turning into somebody that past me couldn't even have recognized, and not just recognized, but even imagined, because it is so out of her scope. And the reason that I'm mentioning this is to also say that I think I've mentioned this in the past episode, where sometimes our minds make us believe that this is how things will always be. And if you're in a space where you want to experience more, where you want to experience new, more diversity, new this, new that, that can be such a scary and crippling thing to be within. But even in your past self, I'm sure when you look back on the person that you used to be, she couldn't have imagined where you're at right now and who you are right now. And it really is like magic to me. For me, it's magic. And I'm gonna name it magic, and that's what I'm gonna go with because I like it. I feel sometimes really like I'm a child on this podcast. It's like the world is magical and there's so much magic and beauty of people. But truly, it is amazing what life will do for you if you let it move you, if you let it carry you, even in the uncertain seasons. And right now, oh gosh, I'll probably discuss this in a later episode, but I have been uprooting a lot of old mentalities and storylines regarding myself and what I like and what I don't like. And I'm noticing now, just like Ashley said herself, my taste buds are changing. I don't like the same things I used to like, not in music, not in
Mm,
movies, not in food, not in clothes, nothing. It's like a
yeah.
completely new version. And it's magic. That's all. That's
Mm.
the end of the episode. Life is magic. You're magic. Everything's magic. Everything's beautiful. Goodbye.
Bye. Auf Wiedersehen, everyone.
No, but I think sometimes, like Ashley said as well, it's not about perfection. I think that's the thing that
Mm,
I'm realizing right now as well. I'm doing somatic exercises and sessions to help release a lot of stress because I'm the type of person who I'm like a stress ball. I just love it. And a lot of stress that I've undone in the way that I go about life is still rooted in my body, in the cells of my body. So that's why I've gone to somatic healing to help release that and restore a new body, a new self, a more peaceful life, and more peaceful self. But in doing so, I've realized time and time again that, like we always say, healing is not linear, and you can have a great day and then the next that night or the next hour you're going to be sobbing. You're going to be a sobbing mess in the car, in your bed, wherever you are, and you're like, oh my god, I can't do this. And it's like, but then you get past it And it's there's a person, I don't remember his name. Ashley, you recommended him to me one time. You shared a couple videos of him. He sits on a stage, he has his eyes closed and he talks to people. I don't know if he's channeling, I don't
Mm,
know what he's doing. I don't know his name, but yesterday I
sure.
saw a
I
video of
think.
him. Yes,
I think
exactly.
that's how you say it. Yeah.
Yesterday I saw a video of him and it was beautiful and I wish to share on the message, pass on the message. And it's like we think that we can't trust the future because of our past experiences. But that in and of itself is a paradox because we trust in the untrust, in the distrust, in the bad. And so what makes it so hard to then, let me rephrase. If we walk around life and say, I can't trust this, I can't trust this, I can't trust this, I can't give my trust to that, you are already trusting the distrust, the untrust, it going bad in that scenario. He kind of stated it in the sense of it being a paradox and how we, if we make that realization that I am trusting in the bad, I can just as well trust in the good. What is the difference between the two? Because you're already trusting. You're already in the state of trust. So will you trust the bad or will you trust the good? And the thing that really hit me is that I'm always trusting the negative. In every single situation I've ever been in, it was like, well, what's going to go wrong and how can I protect myself from this and blah 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 blah. Going into life on offense mode, where I'm preparing for something to go bad rather than for it to go good. And now that I'm healing and I'm letting things go and I'm seeing that me being in the worst state in one moment and then being in a better state the next and seeing my energetic levels and my emotional levels kind of like balance each other out after a certain amount of time is kind of showing me there's more to life. It's not the but, it's not a period, it's an and. You're sad and how does it keep moving forward? And I feel like life is about that. It's about the what's next, not in the sense of awaiting it or maybe even fearing it. Because Ashley and you and I talk about this all the time. It can be scary to look into the future and
Mm,
want what you want. But also, I feel like our becoming is exactly in those spots, is what I'm trying to say. I feel like I'm talking all over
mm,
the place, but in the fear and in the challenging of the fear, in the challenging of the distrust, in the courage to try for more, the new us, the better us, the higher self, whatever you want to label it as, is born. And the person that we wish to be in the future, the person that we wish to that we envision for ourselves in the life we wish to live, the progress from here to there, from us now to that person in the future, is being made in the present moment while we face our trials. And it is just astounding when you have been through a lot of trauma, as I have, and a lot of setbacks in life, that that point, that, I don't want to say desperateness, I don't even think that's a word, but that low frequency where you are just kind of like, well, I don't know if there's more, that can be the exact birthplace where the new you is born, is something that I think is very interesting and very much to do with alchemy and making something of something else that's better than what was before. And I think it is just a gift to be able to grow and to change. And it comes, like I said, with its own bag of things and fears and expectations. But it is a courageous act and something that I wish to say to you, Ashley, and to anybody else who's listening. You are courageous. It is something that I have to like train myself into saying. It's like an affirmation that I am courageous. You are courageous, Ashley. You are courageous, listeners, or watchers. And you can do the hard thing. And what will come out of that place that feels like absolute nothingness, what will come out of that place that feels like nothing but pain, is beauty. If you let life continue to carry you, you don't have to have it all figured out. and you don't need to be perfect. You can make mistakes. It will not eradicate all the work that you are doing towards what it is you want and the person that you wish to be. And yeah, that's just what I had to say. I was in the flow and I don't know if it made sense, but I hope so.
Rest in it, my friend.
Yeah. There are just as a last thing that I wish to say as well is that there are certain places in life where you can only go when you have wings, and where you have to leave the caterpillar shell, the shell of the caterpillar. I don't know if the cocoon, where you have to leave the cocoon and have the wings and reach that place, and you are growing those wings. If you feel like, right now in your life, you're kind of like in the desert in the middle of nowhere and nothing is really happening. Trust me, I can relate deeply. But I promise, even in that space, you're still evolving and growing in ways which you cannot perceive maybe all of the time. And even in your mistakes, and even in your mess ups, and even in the fights, and in the messiness of it all, you are still evolving. And the new version, the new life that you wish to embody and live in, it will come to you, and you are manifesting yourself into it by growing into it, by growing the wings, by learning to fly and reaching that stage. And when you're there, you will have a moment like us right now in this instance where it's like, whoa, didn't think I'd be this person. I didn't even know at a certain amount of time that I could be. I didn't
Mm.
even see any of this as a possibility. And yet here I am. And how amazing is that? And even in especially the spiritual community, please listen to me. You do not have to vibrate at a high frequency 24/7. We said this before. You can be in the low points. The low points helps the high points. It's a balance game. Okay. Okay. Great.
Essentially, you got to be there
Yeah.
to find well, I don't even like the high frequency. Just,
Right.
I feel like you've got to validate the roller coaster of your healing
Yeah.
to feel in alignment with, how do I say this? I feel like I'm just going to say, I feel like the lows have to be validated and allowed in a lot of ways to then find our climb upwards, to then also feel more groundedness and contentment when we step outside, when we have desires and we have loves, when we have connections. Because that's kind of been the journey, really, on my end is, and I think you can relate to it, my friend, is that you'll go through the low of things. But then when you think about your desires and your purpose, it's kind of like you feel more of the fulfillment in that. Whether
Mm,
if you're in a consistent mental state that is so set on a low and there's no room for any high, when you think about your purpose and your desires, there's no connection of fulfillment in that. There's no space for fulfillment when it's a consistent low.
mm, mhm.
So I feel like we have to be able to, obviously, there's more expansion in this, but sit, feel, absorb, not absorb, sit and feel and be in our lows to then find what we desire in our highs, if that's really where we want to
Yeah.
go from there. So when Nina says like spiritual community, like the way that it's been, the way the message has been set, the way I got it is when, especially when I first started getting into spirituality, was that the lows, you have to do everything in your possible state to not be in a low state at all, and you have
Mm,
to remain in like a high frequency the whole time. But then it invalidates if you've gone through the human experience through some pretty unsafe spaces or in certain environments, or you've been through certain things, just in general, right? It
yeah.
invalidates that because essentially trying to act like you don't have limiting beliefs, trying to act like that, it's just kind of like, yeah, it's going to make it. a lot easier for you to crumble, essentially,
Yeah.
not being able to acknowledge that this is all here and existing, and it's there no matter what you try to do in terms of pretending it doesn't exist.
Right.
Yeah, just to expand on that in
Yeah.
my own thought process.
It's modification, it's not transformation. You know, you can suppress all you want and you can emulate the person that you wish to be, but it's not going to make you that person any quicker unless you heal what is already what needs to be healed, you know? So yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And that's also the equalization to emulating yourself with movement, with change and self and growth. And I mean, I love your little magic. Just call it magic. It's not even a childish thing. Like, I kind of think of spirituality as magic, honestly,
Mm,
because it just feels like it. And the correlation with magic is like rare, it
mm,
feels rare, right? And I
mhm.
don't know if you feel the exact same way, but being on a spiritual journey and then a lot of the things that have been experienced, sometimes you have moments where you're like, I just cannot believe that just happened.
Yeah,
It literally feels like magic, the rarity of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's very interesting life and how people go about talking about this journey and healing and all of that. And I don't know, sometimes looking back on my past, during this healing journey, I was like, maybe I'm focusing too much on the past. Maybe that's where I'm messing up. Or sometimes thoughts will come up of like, well, this is why you are the way you are, and it'll never change. And it's interesting because, like you said, a lot of people within spiritual community say, like you said as well, Ash, that you have to only be one thing and you have to emulate. You already have to be the frequency on which the life you wish to live. And it's just not possible sometimes. But I think the thing that I've noticed, especially recently, I think you just need to show up. I think that's the only thing that is required of you, just for you to be willing, for you
Mm.
to be like, okay, I don't want to live this life anymore. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be this way. I don't want to have this situation in my life, and acknowledge that and be like, okay, I'm ready for something new. I'm ready for something more. And then the universe, whatever you believe in, it will bring that about in a way. And sometimes I will say, like Ashley has indicated, it can be sometimes sadistic. You know, sometimes it's just like, oh, okay, we're just coming. Let me rephrase. We're just going at me right now. You know, it's just it's not it's not stopping. It's nonstop, but it's just it can be overwhelming. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah,
Mm.
it's change is vital and it's beautiful and it's rare and it's special and it's magical, and most of all, it is what life thrives of because we have seasons in the year. Everything is constantly changing and evolving and growing, and so must we. And I don't know. It's an interesting space to be in the in between. And I'm not gonna lie, I think we've mentioned this a lot. We Ashley and I we message each other. It's like, oh my god, you would not believe this. I can't do it anymore. You know, like we have a lot of
Oh,
those
so many
moments.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many times. If we could get $1 for every time that we have done that, we would be millionaires.
Yes, we would.
100%. 100%. We have said it so many times.
Yeah.
It's just retracting is consistent
Yeah.
in the journey of this. Of course it is. If your entire self that you knew is crumbling, oh my gosh, what are you
Yeah.
going to latch onto? Oh my gosh, like,
Right.
what am I going to do? Oh my gosh, where do I look? Where do I go? What's
Right.
next? I'm terrified. Am I going to be okay? Am I safe? It's just a whole bunch of
Mm,
fear and mainly your old self absolutely just losing its shut
yeah.
with you letting it go and not letting it go in society's version of it either, but moving into the space that you want to actually be in if you are in a position where you're healing from, the past traumas or sort of a current environments if you're wanting to move from all of that. A lot of the times I think it does need sort of a version of you to remain where that old self is, if that makes sense. Like when you leave an environment, sometimes I think you have to leave a part of your old self there
Yeah.
in order to step into other spaces. But even then, and I always say it because my mind likes to say it too, because I guarantee there might come a day, and this is a part of the change thing too. We have conversations about certain things. There might be a time where I jump on the episode and I say, one episode, I said this, and guess what? Now I'm actually thinking it's this.
Mm.
There's like a consistent movement and
Yeah.
expansion of awareness there. And that's another thing to say too, is our conversations, like I said before, there can be one thing said and then present another thing and then present another thing. There's so many layers to these conversations. And even so, we will be forever learning. The learning journey doesn't end in the human experience, it will always keep evolving. That's why perfection makes no sense. And to me, it just doesn't exist because this human experience is a learning journey and it always will be. So Nina and I will be forever learning, forever. That's a firm boundary it's a firm boundary that I will not allow anyone to project this perfection mode onto us
Mhm.
because there is no way, shape, or form that we are situated in that. We're
Yeah.
not. We're not saying we are, and we will never put ourselves on that kind of pedestal. We will forever be learning, and we're open to that. And even in this podcast, too, we've had to navigate through the acceptance of ourselves in making mistakes by, how we talk, how we present, how we have conversations as well. We have to acknowledge the human experience in this too, that we have our days.
Yeah.
And even the reality, too, speaking for myself, is I'm coming from a lot of years where my learning abilities weren't the way that society perpetuated learning. I don't learn like a lot of other people. And I think a lot of you can relate to this. I don't. So the way that I interpreted English, the way that I interpreted mathematics was very different. And I struggled immensely in school because of it. I left early as well. So because of, other factors as well as just this, my vocabulary, my punctuation, a lot of things I had to actually self teach myself. I actually, funny enough, in healing, it's kind of when I was able to, one, try, and I still have my moments, but I used to talk really fast, and I used to think about other people's time more than anything. So to quickly get the sentence out. And sometimes I still do it because, again, we're not on a perfection model here, right? Um, and that would really mumble my words up, which still does happen because that's a part of this equation is sometimes just like your mind goes, I think it's your mouth goes further on than your mind. So it's like your mind hasn't caught up to it. So your mouth is over here and then your mind is over here. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but you just keep talking. That's what it feels like. Truly, that's what it feels like. Um, and even just the expansion of words as well. I have really internally struggled with that because I have really felt like my intelligence levels are connected to how many words I can use and how I can expand my vocabulary and thinking that I'm not good enough because I'm not using all these big words and stuff. And I repeat certain words and I repeat certain things. But in the realization and the breakdown of perfection, we all have different ways of learning. We all have different ways of doing things. And it also is in conjunction to how our journeys have unfolded, which society doesn't actually validate. It doesn't validate it at all, especially if you have a child, let's say, as a quick example, that's been through homelessness and their life has been about survival. And then they come into, let's say, a corporate office and the way they do things is completely different to everyone else because of their survival. We don't consider these things. We don't. We just ridicule people for not knowing something. Like when you go into a workplace and you're in training and you're learning, I remember my experiences with that. We're so invalidating to the actual reality of what learning actually is, and the fact that we all learn very differently. Information is absorbed very differently. Even the reality too that someone that has anxiety cannot process information in a certain way. We're all very different, but essentially, me personally, I couldn't process a lot of information. I would need you to be patient with me, but also I may need you to do it a few times for me to understand. And also, too, working in a retail place that is busy, especially because my first job was Target, and that's a big department store. There's a big department store. That's a big department store. So you have to have memorabilia. Memorabilia. Oh my God. You have to have acknowledgement of where everything is basically, because you'll have customers come to you while you're in the men's section. Because we got basically put in different sections of Target and you would deal with that one department. So if I had men's clothing, I was in men's clothing and I was dealing with that. If I was in stationery and books, I was in that section. We'd have customers come to us and say, "Where is a this woman's jacket?" And it'd be a Pacific brand and the Pacific name, and it's like, okay, I'm going to go on a journey to know where this is. And they're following you around while you're trying to find it. But in their ideology, because people live on a perfection model in some ways, they think that you just know where this one jacket is going to be. But remembering where everything is in Target, I'm guessing that some people could definitely do that. But then others, come on, to say that we're all in the same box of that,
Right.
that's an illusion. You're just kind of expecting something that is ridiculous. Honestly, you're expecting everyone to sort of mold into this one image, which is what I spoke about in the last episode. Isn't that amazing? How it's also partaking in this conversation. Um, and I did my absolute best to cope with everything, right? Speaking in advocacy for others who can relate to what I'm saying, being so young and then also not really knowing what was going on because I wasn't diagnosed. Actually, sorry, I was diagnosed, but the what's the word? It didn't really go any further than that. So I
Mhm.
guess the progression of that diagnosis, it didn't happen basically. I didn't actually fully know what anxiety was at that point, but I knew that I was trying my absolute hardest to remain as regulated and stable as possible to handle this, like cleaning this department up, knowing where things are, doing the registers. You know, okay, this is there, this is there. How do you do refunds? Trying to process everything was
Mhm.
incredibly difficult when you've never been taught how to do so. But in the workforce, they have these illusion perfection standards of professionalism that expect you to show up and do things in a certain way without mistake.
Mm.
There's just no room for any mistakes. And that was the pressed ideology. You had to follow it this way. You had to do it this way. And it
Mhm.
was the same within schools as well. No room for error, none at all, which is completely invalidating. And that is in correlation with really the topic of growth. This is a part of the growth is realizing one is also realizing yourself what your learning capabilities are and finding the validation within that. Even if society perpetuates its bullshit, it always will because it's still holding on to old belief systems, old ways of doing things that invalidates even autism and the different spectrums of that. Disabilities, like you said, Nina, in the last episode about how disabilities, like society is not catering for disabilities, like society is not built for it. And it's so invalidating to the reality that that's the point. Where society is still holding on to things that never validated human existence in the first place. Maybe like maybe some, probably yeah, but not majority, not at all. Coming back and the whole unfolding of that journey as well. Like it's there's so much to that story, but essentially finding acceptance within self of where you're at as well. I feel like doing this also breaks down the perfection and the illusion that we don't make mistakes, but also that we need patience and we need time. A lot of people do, which also validates you making mistakes. If that's kind of what I'm saying, is that it validates you making mistakes. It validates when you don't know things because it's just not a possibility. And normally that's hard for me to say because I truly believe that the impossible can be possible. But realistically, you can't know everything. It's like there's so much out there. There's so much in this human experience. And to know it all, well, I'd love to meet you if you do. I'd love to know you. I'd love to pick your brain. Are you using the 100% of your brain? Because apparently we only use 10%, so you must be in the 100. Like, poof, I'd love to meet you. But realistically, it doesn't exist in knowing everything. And we hold people up to these ridiculous standards of knowing everything and we ridicule them. And you see it on TikTok and you see it on YouTube. People get ridiculed for not being able to name countries, continents. And I sit there and I think, realistically, right? You forget things after school. Life happens. Some people are in survival. Some people have just gone through like things happen. We can't exactly control what the mind fully remembers and what it doesn't. There's so many things that correlate to memory. There's so many things to say with this in just
Yeah.
advocating for you all in finding acceptance with making mistakes, finding acceptance with growth. Society doesn't like change either. A lot of people don't like change, but this also correlates with finding acceptance that change has to happen too. Like for workplaces to understand patience and time and value, for society to acknowledge disabilities, change has to happen.
Yeah.
It needs to happen. So much of it. And that also is with us too. Like we need it, as difficult as it is. And I can say that too. I do love change. I do love change. Nina said that she was terrified of it. I don't blame her. It is terrifying. It is because it's the uncertainty and the unsafety of the potential. You know, we've spoken about it many times before. Never feeling safe. How can you trust that you're going to be okay, really? If you've never been okay, how do you trust that you're going to be okay? But change, as difficult as it has been so needed. Um, and again, it correlates to the old version of me that doesn't exist anymore. I am so glad in a lot of ways to send her love and send her healing and then start to move forward away from the foundations that weren't built by me, the foundations that were nothing but riddled in trauma and pain. And they were a consistent reminder of that, like consistent. And a lot of people are in the same boat where they've had to transition from that self. They've had to, because essentially, in a lot of ways, it's survival as well. When you have no choice, you have to move from it. Otherwise, it will drown you essentially. And I've used that analogy before because for me, that's what it's felt like. It's felt like trying to keep your head above water, but honestly, you're too tired to. You're way too tired to. And I'm glad it happened. I'm glad to have changed. I'm glad to continue on the journey of growth and evolvement. And I'm no matter what had to be released and given up, no matter how much people want to fight you on it, because some people will, some people are not, potentially, some people are not going to like your transitions. Some people are not going to like your changes. Some people are not going to like the version of you that exists, especially if they were getting something out of it. Right? Some people are not, and that is a difficult thing to also validate. But essentially, if that's the case, then they don't really they don't deserve to be in the space of you now and where you're going. For the highest good of you. If it's for the highest good of you and they don't see that, then it should be left where it should be left. Because really, if like Nina being on the journey of her high for her highest good, it's like the most what's the word, invigorating. Is that the right word? It's just like I love watching it for anyone. I love watching it because as long as they're happy, as long as she's okay, that's the main thing, and that's how it should be. But if people aren't having that stance on your transitions, then that might be something to assess and think about. Because change is inevitable. And if they don't like it, that could even be a thing for them that they don't like change and they don't like that you're changing because that could be a trigger for them. Oh my God, just so many things. I could just go into like so many different pathways. I'm like all over the place sometimes, and it's okay because I've got so much going on up here.
Yes,
So I
absolutely.
will, yeah, I'll end my TED talk with just a reminder that it can be very uncomfortable, but sometimes we have to get uncomfortable to find our fulfillment that we desire. You know, to even have a taste of that and a glimpse. Sometimes we have to get uncomfortable. Kind of like the analogy of stepping out of your comfort zone. Yeah, 100%. And it honestly was the greatest thing. And I can say that now, even though Nina and I have had our moments where we're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to live this life no more. I am done. I'm so tired. Like we've been on the brink of, not even the brink, we have been in the pool of muddy exhaustion and just kind of like done. Dunzo, dunzo, dunzo. But at the same time, again, I would never do otherwise. And I hope that might resonate for some of you as well, that it might feel icky and yuck, and it could be absolutely exhausting to move through that change and that self assessment and that self responsibility and seeing self as well and transitioning where you desire to transition to, even if you're spiritual, sort of allowing that to unfold. But if it's for your highest good and you like there's a part of you that just knows, trust that you know, trust that. Oh gosh, please. If anything, trust that. Truly. Because as difficult as it might be, there might come a time when you look back and you're in the position that maybe I'm in, but in your own version, where you're kind of like, I'm glad it happened. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that because you're so right. Society is so hell-bent on not making mistakes when that is the thing we need to do. It is there's nothing bad about it, and it's not
Mm,
about perfecting 5 stars every single step you take, never making a mistake, and then getting to where you
yes.
wanna be. That's just not realistic. You know, you have to make the mistakes, you have to see the darkness, you have to mess up sometimes in order to know how to fix things and come back new and come back stronger, and I think I had this conversation with a friend of mine not too long ago that I wish to just add in here as a final say. So many people think self improvement is just based on how much money you make. And in fact, it is not.
Touche.
I mean, sure, it could be a part
Touche.
of it, but self improvement is not about moolah. It's not about money, it's not
Mm,
about numbers, it's about your involvement as a human, as a soul that is in the human body and having this human experience. And that translates to all beliefs, even atheists, to all people out there. You know, it's about your involvement in your experience of life. And it's you're going to get there by making mistakes. There's nothing wrong with it. And you're going to be fine. And yes, please people say this: feel the fear and do it anyway, lean into it. And you know, I have my own relationship with that I'm working out with controlling all of it, but I do believe your fears can sometimes mask even as excitement for what is to come and for what you really wish for. And so go for it. At least give it a try and try it a couple times. And I do believe that life will turn out better if you go for it rather than sitting and waiting in what you already know is not making you miserable. So, to anybody listening, change is beautiful, it's magical, it's spiritual, it's everything, and the world is beautiful and wonderful, and so are you. So, no, but seriously,
and there
seriously.
might come a day where it's like the complete opposite.
Oh yeah, yeah, but that's about change, right? It's transformation, it's
Yeah,
growth. It's part of it,
definitely.
part of the sauce, part of the
Anger
season.
towards it is
Yeah,
normal. The
yeah,
frustration, get angry at it.
yeah.
That's okay. You have every right to be, in my
Feel the
opinion.
feeling, and just show up for yourself. Do it for you. And if you need, I feel like this is also something that I just want to place into everybody's minds. Know your why. Know why you're doing it and for who and what for. Um, and that can even keep you going when everything else doesn't, you know? So definitely
Mm,
change is beautiful and
that's a
it's
good one.
vital. Thank you. You say so many wise things. I wanted to sprinkle something in here. So
You keep dropping mics every episode. What are you talking about? Like, if
thank
we
you.
had more mics here, they would just be pow, pow, pow.
Oh,
Ask what your whys are. That was a good one. That was really good. I
thank
like
you.
that.
Thank you. Um,
Nina's wisdom. Mm.
but yeah, thank you guys for being on this journey with us. And I will actually leave it off with this. Even this, even the podcast itself, it was an idea. And there were so many things involved. And like Ashley said, sometimes we can be hard on ourselves, but there is no need for perfection. There is growth and we're evolving and we're really just coming into our own in our own lives and into the lives we wish to live
Mhm.
and into the podcast. And I'm so proud of the both of
Yeah.
us. I'm proud of all of you who are doing the same in your own lives, listening to this right now, watching this. You guys are doing amazing. Please keep going and don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your dream. Go for it and keep going and do the best that you
Mm.
can. Don't be afraid of mistakes because it's part of life, the circle
Go
of
team.
life. Oh,
Yes, go forward. Go forward, friends. Go team. Yes, we can do this.
yes.
Totally.
Go
We
team.
can do this.
I like that.
I'll message Nina like 3 days later. I'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't
Yeah.
do this.
Oh,
It's okay, because I'll still be here again and again and again every time I say it.
yeah. And that's power. That's courage. So, yes.
Magic.
Magic.
Yes, you
Magic.
sing. Here we go. She's going to sing for us. Okay, I'm ready.
Oh yeah, I did say I was gonna do promo. Oh my gosh. Um, is this gonna be like the after show special all the time where one of us is gonna sing or dance? Because I like it. But
Promo. This is going to be like the very first promo for this episode.
not the first. Oh my gosh. Okay. Big plans. I don't know what song shall I sing? What song shall I sing? There's so many. Um, I'm not going to sing Celine Dion because actually the funny thing is I was going to do
What you're going to.
so coming back to me. And then Ashley was like, that song was stuck in my head. I'm like, me too.
Yes. You
But I
know her
can't do
song,
that.
Drove All Night? Have you heard that
Yeah.
one? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
song as well has just been like absorbing my brain.
Beautiful. Wow.
It's a beautiful song. I'm not gonna lie though, like some part of the lyric, it's a little like, you know, the part where she says, "Crept in your room."
Ah.
That.
On that note, every move you make,
Oh my
every
gosh,
step you take.
that's a beautiful song.
Every single. I don't even know the lyrics. Hold on. No, if I'm gonna sing it right. Give me a
Oh,
second.
every step I take,
What are
every
they even
move
called?
I
Police,
make,
right? Yeah, that's funny.
every single day, every time I pray.
I'll be watching.
Is it missing you or watching you?
I'll
Every
be watching.
single day.
Ashley is already singing it. I don't even
It's a
need to do
beautiful
it.
song. No, I'm sorry. I got into it and I just like, please still sing. I just got into it. You know me with music. I just love music. Oh my
Okay.
gosh, I came across a song.
Yeah.
I came across a song. I have to tell you this. I came across an old song I used to listen to in the early 2000s. I
Yeah.
came across it yesterday and I just got freaking in my feelings about it and I got
Yeah.
teary. And it's not a sad song or anything, but for some reason it hit the heart, and I was like, "Wow, this
What song was
song.
it?
Oh my gosh." 1 second. I gotta find it. I can do it. 1 second, everyone. Hold on 1 second. Um,
Actually, I know which song I'm gonna sing.
Oh, she
Yeah,
knows.
because Every Breath You Take is not something that
Ooh,
works for my vocals. Okay,
have
okay.
you heard the song, Drops of Jupiter by Train?
Yes,
I don't
I
know why,
love
but I
Train.
heard it. Oh my gosh. I don't know why, but I was listening to it and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is just so beautiful." And I never could appreciate it back then when it first came out, but now I'm like sitting there like, I am officially 28 because
Yeah, it's a beautiful song. Also, have you heard their song Marry Me? Don't listen to
No,
it unless you
I'm
want
gonna
to
have
cry.
to.
It is
I want
beautiful.
to.
It is
Oh, yes.
beautiful. Okay. So, outro song, intro promo song.
Uh,
Moon river wider than a mile. I'm crossing you in style someday. Oh, dream maker, you heartbreaker, wherever you're going, I'm going your way. Two drifters off to see the world. There's such a lot of world to see. We're after. I can't do it. I'm losing the chords, but I'm so shaky. Like, oh my god, I'm singing. I can't do it. So that'll be the intro
oh
and the
my
outro.
gosh.
Hello, goodbye. Happy to see it.
Hi, everyone. That was like a oh my gosh, I was picturing like a jazz club, a very
Ooh,
serene, calm sound, and you're just singing like soft jazz. That's what it
thank
reminded
you.
me of, like soft. That
Yeah.
was beautiful. Like old, you have a very why did it remind me of like a very old style voice? Is that even the right way to say it?
Mm-hmm.
Timely,
Oh,
timeless voice. Yes,
thank you.
that was
Thank you.
beautiful.
It's
Oh
Audrey
my gosh,
Hepburn's
thank you.
song from Breakfast at Tiffany's, I think. That's the movie. And I
Mm,
love that
thank
song.
you.
I was completely off in the beginning, but that's fine. I'll re-record it. I'll re-record it
It's
and
a
I'll
lot
make a
harder
video.
on here.
What?
It's a lot harder to do it through here, to sing through here than it would
Um,
be to, have the equipment and just on your
yeah,
microphone.
yeah.
You should do that and then put it like Jay can edit it
Oh,
onto
okay.
another
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna come back. Next episode, we're gonna open the episode with the song. How about that? I have time to
It's
prepare my
beautiful.
vocals. My vocals, like I can like do the scales and everything.
You serenaded us beautifully, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate it, my
Thank you for
friend.
your beautiful voice. That's going to
Yes,
be the
thank you.
promo for this episode and everything.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
aha, they're not going to know what we're talking about because it's just going to be you singing. It's just going to be an album of Nina's voice
Oh my
the whole
god.
hour.
I'm gonna run away.
I- You're going to leave Germany anyway, so yeah, run
Yeah,
away.
true. But okay, guys, thank you for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful weekend or whenever you're listening to this. And like we said, don't give up, keep going. You got this. Go team.
Fist pump, cheese pump, headbang.
Anyway,
Arrivederci.
Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.